Let's continue the conversation, and here's Kai.
We're all here because we're trying to figure out what's going to happen in the next 5 years. Where's that next dollar going to come from, and how are we going to drive growth? Over the last 10 years, we've all been trained as marketers to think of who are we targeting from a target audience standpoint. When we think of a target audience, that creates this cold relationship between you and the consumer. And it really ignores this third rail of community. And so when you start to put into your briefs and talk to your teams about community and what communities you're trying to capture attention of, and what communities you're trying to empower and what communities you're trying to make better off, then you will have a better chance of getting individuals in that community to recognize your brand as a leader. One of the other provocations I want to give you is to get rid of quantification bias, right? We all have these marketing models in which, we have all this data that's going in. Every new platform, every new piece of technology, we try to figure out how do we shoehorn a new metric into this long string of variables. And that's data economics, right? And so doing that type of modeling is in my background, but that is something that myself, I am throwing away. Because there is a better way in order to realize if you are in a position to grow your brand. And so when we think about all the things that we can quantify, they really go from a spectrum. On one side, you have all of these different channels that we're all interacting in. And on the other side, you have NPS, right? So you have one metric or you have 100 different metrics. And when we conduct research with vendors such as Forrester, what they find is that the average organization that's a Fortune 100 company has 15 to 17 different data sources coming into their company. And so I want to really challenge you that just because you're measuring something, that doesn't mean it's the most important thing. And so from an academic standpoint, I'm trying to figure out what's happening inside that people cannot articulate to us that's ineffable. And where that really nets us is kind of this soft space of feelings. And we often discount feelings because we can measure so many other things such as clicks or actions that someone's taken, foot traffic in the stores. But when it comes to feelings, that really represents this kind of Pandora's box. And what researchers have found is that 95% of the decisions that we make are made in autopilot. And 70% of those decisions are reliant upon emotion rather than reason. And so as we see new technologies like eye tracking and facial recognition coming up, my job is really to figure out how do we use those new technologies to reveal pieces of a consumer experience that's going to fill in these missing gaps within what we're trying to measure and prioritize. How do we essentially measure the immeasurable? And what we're finding is these large strides of moving beyond the thought of the 6 to 8 emotions of happiness or joy that we're traditionally stuck with. What I'm trying to figure out is what's that fandom? What's going to make individuals run towards your brand? What's that thing that's going to help you break through? And in the next couple of years, we'll see more audio, we'll see more video, we'll see more experiences like Neil mentioned that are going to be decentralized. Things are going to get a lot more sensorial and immersive and much more augmented. And when brands start to do this, they're going to start to really take off, because when we start to think of the role of machine learning and AI, what we're going to see is a lot of the marketing that we're doing today, a lot of the reliance that we have on copywriters is starting to go away. And I'll end with this slide of 2 examples. Chase earlier this year announced research, a company that they partnered with, and what they found is that machine learning is beating individuals 2x in terms of copywriting lines. So if you're a copywriter in the room, then you may want to be nervous because a lot of the creativity when it comes to advertising is already getting beat by machines.
5 patterns from fast-growing companies.
The most important brand metric is how you make other people feel.
For executives, students, marketers, and entrepreneurs. Follow the feeling.